We shall continue now with the national statements, and I call to the floor His Excellency Ambassador Mr. Chen Shu of the People's Republic of China. The floor is yours, Ambassador.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, first of all, please allow me, on behalf of the Chinese delegation, to congratulate you on your election as the chairman of the CSP. The Chinese delegation is prepared to cooperate fully with you and all the other delegations in making this session a success. I would also like to express my appreciation to your predecessor, Her Excellency Vassila Murdan-Karachi, for the excellent work she has performed. Mr. Chairman, this year marks the 70th anniversary of the victory of the World Anti-Fascist War and the centennial anniversary of the first large-scale use of chemical weapons in human history. In this exceptional year, we have witnessed the accession by Myanmar and Angola to the Convention, which has greatly enhanced the universality of the Convention. Under the full and effective supervision of the OPCW, positive progress has been made in the elimination of the Syrian chemical weapons. The importance of the Convention and the OPCW for building a chemical weapon-free world and for safeguarding global peace and security has been further highlighted. As always, China will actively support the work of the Director General and the Secretariat, strengthen the bilateral cooperation, and make a joint effort to advance the process of ridding the world of chemical weapons. China wishes to thank the Director General, His Excellency Mr. Yu Jintao, for his comprehensive work report and associates itself with the statement made by His Excellency Ambassador Alireza Jahangiri of Iran on behalf of the United States and China. Now please allow me to elaborate China's position further. Firstly, the OPCW should consistently push forward the work of destruction of chemical weapons, which constitutes the core object of the Convention and is the primary task of the OPCW for a long time to come. The OPCW should continue to ensure its input of resources in this regard. The chemical weapons possessor states should work to complete the destruction at an early date according to the Convention and the relevant decision of the policymaking organs of the OPCW. China welcomed the positive progress made in the destruction of the Syrian chemical weapons and commends the OPCW, the UN, the Syrian government, and the international community for their efforts in this regard. China stands firmly against the use of chemical weapons by anyone under any circumstances and supports the OPCW UN Joint Investigative Mechanism in performing its mandate objectively, independently, and professionally while respecting Syria's independence, sovereignty, and territorial integrity. Secondly, the destruction of Japanese ACWs in China brooks of no further delay. If Japanese ACWs could not be completely eliminated, the core object of the Convention of building a world free of chemical weapons would be jeopardized. Today, large quantities of Japanese ACWs are still threatening the Chinese people's lives and properties and the environment of China. And the Japanese ACWs are much more harmful to the humans and the environment than the chemical weapon stockpiles. The destruction of Japanese ACWs is more urgent than ever. Up until now, the pace of the destruction of Japanese ACWs has been falling far behind schedule. China is gravely concerned about it. China urges Japan to fulfill its obligations under the Convention, implement the relevant Council decision dutifully, and increase its inputs to complete the destruction at an early date according to the destruction plan jointly submitted by the two sides. The destruction of Japanese ACWs is not only an international legal obligation incumbent on Japan, as stipulated by the convention, but is also one of the core tasks of the OPCW. China hopes that through the Executive Council, the CSP, and the Review Conference, the OPCW will keep this issue under review, give play to its monitoring role, and ensure the input of resources in the verification of Japanese ACWs. In order to provide the states parties with a full picture of the past and the present of the Japanese ACWs, China will hold an exhibition of the photos about Japanese ACWs outside this conference hall at 13 o'clock. We will have an inauguration ceremony. There, all delegates of these parties are welcome to take a look. Thirdly, the OPCW should value the developing countries' legitimate rights and interests and their reasonable desires and intensify international cooperation. As an important cornerstone of the Convention, international cooperation is of great significance to the full implementation of the Convention. The OPCW should respond to the requirements of the developing countries, increase its input of resources in international cooperation, overall plan and optimize its international cooperation programs, and explore ways to lift restrictions on the transfer of chemicals. China commends the TS and the states parties for their efforts at fostering international cooperation, prepares to work with all other parties in this respect, and pledges to play an active role in the effective implementation of the relevant decision of the CSP 16 adopted in 2011. Fourthly, the issue of the future development of the OPCW should be addressed properly and prudently. This issue hinges on the authority and the prospect of the OPCW and involves a broad range of issues such as political, legal, technical, personnel, and financial ones. All states parties should be fully engaged and play a leading role in this process. China is in favor of the proposal by the non-states parties on the establishment of a working group on this subject and calls for a proper balance of the relations between the pillars of the Convention and an in-depth assessment and extensive deliberations before a decision is made on this subject through consensus in an equitable, democratic, and transparent manner. Mr. Chairman, China has consistently supported the objects and purposes of the Convention and has fulfilled all its obligations in earnest. As the state party with the largest number of declared facilities under Article 6 of the Convention, China had so far received more than 400 OPCW inspections of all categories, with 36 conducted in this year alone, of which 27 were industry inspections and 9 were Japanese ACW inspections. In May this year, China and the OPCW jointly held in Beijing the annual meeting of national authorities in Asia and the first education and outreach seminar in Asia. In September, China hosted the first assistance and protection workshop for Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, and Myanmar. On top of that, China has also provided training for another 2 chemical interns from African states parties. China is ready to use various means, including seminars, training courses, and bilateral exchanges, to assist other states parties in further building their capacities for implementing the Convention. The Chinese delegation requests the issuance of this statement as an official document of this conference. Now, with your permission, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to pass the floor to Mr. Enoch Yuan, Assistant DG of Trade and Industry of the Hong Kong SAR of China. He will brief the conference on the efforts and measures of the Hong Kong SAR for implementing the Convention. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Ambassador.